Hi, Global students. This is Dr. R, and I'm here today with Mrs. Kat Lyons. She teaches at Atlas High School, and she's a 12th grade physics teacher. And we're here today. We're just going to kind of delve into, I'm so excited. We're going to delve into all things global with her. And I want to tell you that the interview is for Delaware State University. It's for my Global Societies class, and I have questions as well as I have some questions from 5 former Global Society students. And again, I just want to welcome you. Are you excited to be here?
I'm very excited.
I'm excited.
I'm very excited to be here. Since I was 12, my dream was to live in the United States. Here I am.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Why, since you were 12?
Funnily enough, my nan, she bought me a book for my 12th birthday, Miley Cyrus's biography, and my 12-year-old self was like, that's it. I'm going to go and live in LA.
Wow.
I'm not living in LA, I'm living in Colorado.
Okay.
Yep.
Did Miley Cyrus ever live in Colorado?
I don't think so.
Okay. I like Miley Cyrus too.
I like Miley Cyrus.
I know.
She's out there.
So today we have 8 questions for you. And
Okay.
like I said, 5 from my former Global students. And I know that you've already been privy
Yes.
to these questions so that you can just kind of think and ponder. I just want to go back probably before Christmas because I know that we had to reschedule.
Yes.
Because of the weather.
The
Here,
snow was horrendous.
always snowing, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely. It has snowed in total 8 times, from Christmas up until now. So 8 times in 1 month. And today it's snowing again, right?
Again.
Like
5 inches of snow overnight.
I know. Can you tell me, you were talking about your dog a little bit when you went out today and you were going to walk your dog and you saw the snow?
I was going to go outside in the Birkenstocks that I was wearing, but I put one foot out the door and was like, maybe some gumboots, wellies would be better instead. So I put my polka dot gumboots on and then I took my dogs out.
How do they do in the snow?
Both my dogs love the snow. My first dog was born and raised in Colorado, so he's used to the snow, and the dog that we rescued, she hadn't been in the snow up until December when we had our first little fall, but she gets the zoomies, so super fun, loves the snow. Yeah.
That is wonderful.
Yeah.
And you're here with you and your husband, but you said that your husband is currently deployed.
He is currently deployed, yeah. So normally he would be home, but he's not.
Oh, thank you guys for your service. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so I'm going to just kind of jump right in here.
Absolutely.
And you can just answer these questions any way you want.
Beautiful.
This is all you, free reign. This is your stage.
Yay!
100% you. All right, so the first, I want to say this. So
Yes.
normally we do not use students' names, so you're going to
Absolutely.
hear pseudonyms for my students. Everything from Charlie Brown,
Okay.
Schultz, because
Love it.
that's one of my favorite, cartoon characters.
Beautiful.
All right, so the first question from Charlie Brown is, what image do you think about when you think about New Zealand?
When I think about New Zealand, I picture first and foremost probably the Milford Sound, which is on the west coast of the South Island. Green, beautiful water, mountains, lots of ferries going through the middle or boat trips. I think about the beaches. Most importantly, my favorite beach is probably Kaitiritiri, which is up the top of the South Island. The sand is gold, beautiful blue waters. It's amazing and I love it. I miss the real fruit ice creams that you can get from that part of the island as well. So I miss the food, I miss the water, the nature, and probably most importantly, when I think of New Zealand, I think of our how do I want to word it? Like our indigenous peoples, the Māori ethnicity. Every time I hear the haka or I hear a song in Māori, it brings tears to my eyes. I'm still very much emotionally connected to that part of myself in New Zealand.
And I can see that you are emotionally connected even right now.
Yes.
It's showing all over your face. You are telling us a story,
Yeah.
you know, and the imagery of New Zealand, even without us being there. So definitely there. Do
Love
you
it.
ever plan to return? Not that I want you to go, but do you ever plan to return?
I've honestly thought about it, but when my first 2 years as a live-in nanny came to an end here in the US, I don't think I could bring myself to go back and live there. I definitely think I could go back and visit, but it's not home anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's more of like a vacation spot, I'd say.
I get it.
Yep.
I get it. All right. So next question. This is one of mine, and this is a funny question.
Okay.
So the ratio of 10 sheep to one person. Is this true?
It's correct.
Right.
It's true.
So,
very true.
So how does that work with more sheep than people?
I mean, you don't really notice it unless you're like out in the backcountry or driving the country roads. You don't really notice the sheep per se, but it's definitely like look, there's 500 sheep sitting in a field, like not like here in America.
So when you say the ratio of sheep, 10 to a person, are sheep on the street?
I mean, I wish.
Are they just on the road? How does that work?
I mean, it's mainly on farms, like
Okay.
sheep farming, sheep shearing. There's a lot of that in New Zealand that goes on. A lot of my friends in high school had to do with the agriculture in New Zealand, so yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, yep.
All right. Okay, so second question. This is from Sally. Sally says, is there an etiquette in New Zealand for people who show up late? Have you used the same etiquette in the U.S. and what was the outcome? So
The etiquette in New Zealand is a lot stronger than the etiquette here in the United States. Diligence and showing up on time is like very much like cut and dry. There's no in between. If
that's
you're
like
late,
me.
you're late.
They will tell you that. that is so on point. Thank you.
If you're late,
Come on
like
now.
1 minute over,
Come on.
as soon as that clock hits
on.
10 o'clock, you are officially late.
That's it.
If you are showing up at 11:59, like you're scratching the surface there, like you're borderline, might as well count you as being late.
Wow.
So growing up, and still now, I always show up to everything I'm asked to do or told to do or a place I need to be 15 minutes prior.
Exactly.
Even if I have to sit in my car for the next 10, I'll sit in my car for the next 10, but I will show up on time and be there when I need to be.
That
So
is
yeah.
wonderful.
Yep.
We are so in tune with that.
Good.
100%, and I had no idea that you would answer that question in this way.
Being prompt and on time,
Oh my Lord.
it not only does a service for yourself, but like it shows your employer or the persons that you're around that you care about showing up on time and being present.
Okay.
Yep.
You see that I'm
No
so
in
agreement.
between. There's no in between.
Oh my goodness, there is someone else out here who's not like who's just like Dr. R. Thank you. All right. So is it the same way that you? Okay, I'm already answering my question. So, but is it the same way that you've seen here in the United States? Is that the same way?
I mean, I think most of the people that I've met here, it depends really. I've seen a lot of people that will show up on time, but probably 9 times out of 10, the people that I'm friends with, they show up late. So I don't really think, maybe I would say it's probably not the same thing, but
Not at all.
but I definitely think that there are other etiquettes in New Zealand that are also quite stronger than here in America. So yeah, not like
Do
other
you care to
topics.
discuss what those etiquettes are?
Sure, absolutely. I was talking to your husband earlier about the classroom etiquette. When your teacher is outside welcoming you into the classroom, you'll generally come in and just sit down at your desk, wait for your teacher to come in and start the lesson. In New Zealand, as soon as your teacher walks into the classroom, you immediately stand because their presence in the classroom is first and foremostly the most important presence in the classroom. She or he will say, "Good morning, class," and you'll say, "Good morning, Miss or Mr. whoever," and then they'll say, "Take a seat," and then that's when you sit down. But you have to have a formal hello, good morning before you're able to sit down.
Can you say the formal thing one more time? Just you have to have a what? a formal,
like a formal good morning,
exactly.
good evening greeting
like
in
a
some
professional
ways.
protocol, right?
Yes, it has to be
Okay.
because your teacher is,
Oh
and
my
first
goodness.
and foremostly is
Oh.
the most important person in the classroom, and you respect them as a person and as a teacher.
These are things that I actually ask of all of my global students.
Mhm.
And I will say that probably about 80 to 85% of them will follow suit. They understand exactly what you just said. They understand that protocol or the respect or the welcome that you put out there. You know, and then you might have 15 or 10% who need to be reminded, you know, because of, you know, again, all of the standards are not the same.
It's not the same way for everybody.
Yes.
No.
And they should be.
They should be. I think it's a mutual thing. Yeah. I said as well to your husband before you were here today that anybody, regardless of their age or gender, if they are older than you, you open the door for them. So if I was walking into a supermarket and, I don't know, say a 60-year-old, regardless of their gender, was walking in the door, you hold it open for them.
Absolutely.
If I have one of my staff here and one of my mentors, they open the classroom, I wait for them to walk through first, because even if there's only like a 5-year age gap, they're technically older than I am, therefore I show my respects to them. They have the right of way before I do.
That is wonderful.
Yeah, the same way, works the same ways. Yep.
I love that.
Yep.
I love that. So, next question. This is from Franklin. All right. He wants to know, what is the difference in sports in New Zealand and the U.S.? And any drawbacks when you compare the two?
There are a lot of cultural differences between the sports in New Zealand and America. I think America has a larger pool of sports that you can play in either like high school, college. And I think those sports are taken more seriously here in the United States than they would perhaps in New Zealand. I mean, I really only grew up playing netball, which not many people know what netball is.
Yeah, can you tell me what that is? See,
It's like non-contact basketball, except there's no backboard behind the hoop. It's just the hoop.
Okay.
And there's 7 positions on the court, but it's non-contact, so no physical contact allowed with your person that's defending you or attacking you. So
Okay.
I think it's just much more advanced here in the US than it is in my home country.
It is. They love their sports.
Oh yeah.
Here overall in the United States.
That's another thing I love about the US.
Yeah. So moving forward here, so let me see. You talked about the ice cream. All right. So when you compare, you know, the foods and cuisines from New Zealand, what's the most thing that you know, love about the foods in New Zealand? I know you just talked about the ice cream, but what were some?
I miss the dairy the most from New Zealand, because we're such a farming country, agriculture country, that I don't know what it is, but when I came here to America, I can't eat dairy anymore. It upsets my stomach. I've become lactose intolerant. And so when I go back home, I think the one thing I can't wait to have again is like the ice cream, the milk, the cream, anything that involves dairy, the cheese. I can't wait. I honestly can't wait to have it again.
What was interesting is that when my son went to Japan, and he's lactose intolerant too, and supposedly he has allergens to milk. But when he spent 2 weeks in Japan, he was able to consume every milk product there, and he didn't have one issue.
I know, isn't it wild?
Yes.
I experienced the same thing. I don't know what it is about American dairy, but something's not right. I don't know. I don't mean it like that. I mean, there's something in it that just affects stomachs that are maybe like used to, well, for me anyway, I was used to New Zealand dairy products, and then I came here and my stomach is now all up the wop. So since moving to the US, I found certain dairy products like Tillamook. Tillamook is the only dairy product that I can eat that like doesn't upset my stomach, which is kind of wild. But the one thing about the American food and cuisine that I love is the diversity in the cuisine that we have here. There's not much outside the realms of like a Sunday pot roast dinner, or it's typically like British meals that we have in my country. And so mainly all of our foods are British, but here in America I've loved being able to experience a wide range of different cultures, cuisines, and giving it a go is always fun. You'll find out whether you like it or not pretty quickly, but
Good.
I love expanding my taste range.
To know, what's the cost of living in New Zealand?
It's ridiculous. We're at a pretty small island, so everything is imported, obviously, apart from dairy products that we grow on our own, maybe even some bread here and there, but almost everything that you find either has a label from like Mexico or California or somewhere that isn't remotely even close to where we are.
Okay.
So I think at one point during COVID, we were paying 18 New Zealand dollars for a 12 pack of eggs,
Wow.
which is absolutely wild because here we pay maybe like $2 for a 12 pack of eggs. So
you were paying how much again?
18 New Zealand dollars. I don't know.
Almost
I think one, if I can remember this right, yeah, 1 New Zealand dollar is worth 62 US cents. So if you convert it, I think it's still pretty expensive in US dollars.
That is.
Uh-huh. Ridiculous. Same with cheese. Cheese was wild and out there too.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And the cost of living, let's say if someone wanted a 1-bedroom flat, how much would that cost them?
I think you'd probably be looking at around like $150 a week.
Okay. So that's
Which then times that by 4.
Yeah,
It's,
so
it's
six.
not
Okay.
it's not out there. Yeah. Yeah.
That's about realistic.
It's realistic. It's not too
For a
bad.
studio, possibly. That's really inexpensive.
I think it depends on the region that
Yes,
you're living
exactly.
in
'Cause
too.
in
Like
New
if you're
York,
living in a major city,
yeah.
it's going to go up.
Yeah, because in
Yeah.
New York you're going to pay about $2,500.
And then go to Georgia and you're not going to pay half as much.
Exactly.
Yep.
Or you come to Colorado and oh my goodness.
Yeah, good luck forging
Yeah.
$2,500 out of your pocket for a one room.
The cost of living is crazy here, global students.
Yep.
I'm telling you.
Don't appreciate it.
And the taxes.
I think for myself, I pay around $2,000 for a 1-bedroom apartment here in Colorado Springs. So, yep. I'm gonna go cry myself to sleep.
That is, they have definitely increased over the last 5 years.
Oh,
and they
absolutely,
are
for sure.
Talking about a tax increase over the next.
I think the
year or
tax
so.
increase is like 25%. They're increasing the home tax. Yep.
It's ridiculous.
Not looking forward to it.
I know.
Yep.
One of my friends was telling me, she was saying, you have to come out and live in Belgium. She said that is very inexpensive in Belgium. I have not looked into it, so I have no idea. Is it inexpensive in Belgium? Oh, free healthcare, free college, learning 4 languages by the time they were in middle school. Yes. A mini castle.
The vast differences between living in the US versus living in in Belgium. In Belgium.
Exactly.
Take me to Belgium.
And she's been there for the last 10 years, so I don't think she's coming back.
No, I think she'll stay put. I would too.
Exactly. This is really a great interview. I'm having such a good time.
This is
with
fun.
you. Are you okay with all the questions?
Oh, absolutely.
Is there anything that you want to add, Silly, while I'm just perusing my questions here? Anything you want to add to just kind of share with my global students?
If it is to do with America, I would say, it's not silly, but I think there are vast opportunities here compared to the ones in New Zealand. Job opportunities, cultural opportunities, really expanding on the people you meet, the languages you hear. I'm working at a predominantly Hispanic Latino school, and I grew up around the British and the Maoris, so I really only had a background of 2 languages, Maori and English, and so coming to a Hispanic Latino school that is predominantly Spanish speaking, I've actually really enjoyed it. I've really enjoyed learning about their culture, their food, their people, the way they, raise their children. It's just, I don't know, I love it.
Yes. So, speaking of education, so we kind of jumped on
that.
So this is my question.
Yep.
Discuss New Zealand's educational system
Okay.
and your professional experience in educational system in the U.S. And you just chimed on some of that. So discuss New Zealand's educational system.
I think the New Zealand's educational system I think it works well. I think they've got something good going for them. I went to a public if I'm going to put this in American terms, K through 8th
Okay.
grade school. We call it primary school.
Okay.
Loved it, was great. Learned a lot about technology, was raised, on how to use a soundboard, on how to do cameras and lights. I worked a lot behind the scenes with that. And then for high school, I went to an all-girls private integrated school. Very different from the public education that I was receiving.
Okay.
I would say that it was harsh. Very much sink or swim, or as me and my friends here like to say, progress or perish. You really had to be accountable for yourself and nobody else but yourself. You didn't do the work, you didn't pass. Very much the teachers gave you what you needed, and if you didn't thrive on that, then, well. So I don't think maybe personally I had the best experience with the New Zealand education, but I think for the most part it's very demanding whilst being supporting, and you get exactly what you need. You just have to thrive on your own like motivation. Really and utterly honest, looking back at how I'm now implementing that in a high school in the US, which is where I struggled, I am doing what I wish I had, which was more support, more guidance, more reassurance that it's fine that you don't get it right now, but I will help you implement extra steps to make sure that you are on task and meeting the standard where everybody else is at, which I think New Zealand maybe could do that a little bit better.
Okay. And what are the grades that you normally have here in the United States?
The grades?
Yeah.
Like what I would...
9th, 10th, 11th for 12th graders?
10th and 12th graders,
Okay.
Which is a very vast difference between the two. I think I emotionally support my 10th graders more than my 12th graders. My 12th graders are more just, miss, I'm out of here in a couple of months.
Yes, it's the same
See
way.
you later. Thank you so much for everything, but I'm gone in a few months, so bye.
Good.
Yeah, I like it. I enjoy it.
Oh, that is wonderful.
Yeah, I'm out here trying my best.
The next question that I want to get to is how different are the laws? Peppermint Patty wanted to know this. How different are the laws from New Zealand and the United States?
The laws are, I feel like each country has their own unique set of laws, but I think majority of them are relatively the same in some aspects. I think the law of the age that you can drink in New Zealand is different to here in the US. It's 18 instead of 21, and we actually aren't allowed to buy firearms in the country of New Zealand. It's not allowed unless you have a specific hunting and fishing license that you have to obtain a certain amount of training from before you are allowed to have the gun. The gun has to be kept in a safe at all times, and there's penalties and fines that you can get if you don't adhere to the rules. We had a shooting in New Zealand when I got out of high school. It was the mosque shooting 2 hours from my hometown, and I was actually coming out of the gym, and this live feed was on Facebook, and it was the live feed that the mosque shooter had put up, and I think it was 18, 19-year-old me was watching this live stream of this guy murdering innocent people. So I think that law is very different to the law here in the United States, and a lot of people here don't agree with my views on the gun laws, which is totally okay. I get it. Very different countries, very different experiences, and then for the most part, I think political views and the way that we talk about politics is very much hidden and kept private for just yourself to know about. I don't actually think I understood what politics were until I turned maybe 16, when my parents were like, oh, we're going down to the church to put in our votes, and I'm like, for what? And they're like, oh, for the Prime Minister. Oh, okay, what's that? And then that's when you start having your conversations, but your parents, they would never share who they voted for that year, because that was private to them, and that was their one thing that they held themselves private about. They wouldn't share that with you. And in the US, it's very different. You share everything about politics, you share everything about religion, you share obviously your views on the laws, and that dictates who your friends are and who you surround yourself with, and I think it's very segregating and forms divides and groups, and it's no fun.
There's a herd mentality in the United States, and a herd mentality kind of dictates what groups or group you have
You
to
belong to.
To be recognized, to be honored, and things of that nature. I usually, I can honestly probably speak for myself and family. We are far from the herd.
Yep.
We don't do any herd mentality whatsoever. We kind of have our own way of thinking, and I incorporate that also in my global studies classes, where some of my global students, they might see something from CNN, they might see something from Fox News, they might see something that is completely neutral, and so for me, that is normally the way that I operate, because I don't want them to know which side I'm leaning into.
Because that's entirely private and for yourself to know about.
It is completely private. Now, what's different is that when we're home, oh my goodness, we all have conversations.
You have opinions.
Yes, everyone. And it's different because in my household, we are all across the board. And that is okay. And there's not a herd mentality.
And that's completely okay, as long as that's your dynamic in the house and it's not taken out into public where you dictate where your friends lie or tell them that their opinion's wrong or that your friendships are based off of that, which is sad. So.
And I have friends, again, my friends are across the board as well, and so we tend to not always have the same political views, but we all respect each other's political views, which is so insane when you look at the world itself, because everyone wants to be a part of that herd mentality, but no one wants to, kind of stand up and kind of take that leadership position and be like, you know what, this is what I stand for.
I think that is definitely a part of it. I think what kind of hurts the most, in a sense, is an opinion on something or an idea that you have. In America, I feel that certain sides pick, oh, we want that on our side. And if you say you like that, well, then you're on that side. And if somebody else is like, oh, do you have this opinion? And it pertains to the other side of the spectrum on politics, oh, well, then you're this side. Well, no, I can have a different range of opinions from both sides of the political stance here in the United States, but it doesn't mean that I'm one or the other.
Exactly.
I can have any opinion I want, and
you can have an array of opinions, and that is absolutely okay.
But that doesn't depict which side I'm on or who my friends can be.
It just means that you have an opinion and you want it to be heard and respected.
But 9 times out of 10, I keep everything to myself. It's just not a fight I like picking here in the US, therefore I keep it to myself.
Well, you can come over to our house.
Okay, cool.
And you can have any
We'll hash it out at your house.
You can have any conversation you want in our house, and it will be okay.
Good. As long as I think conversations can be respectful and done in an adult manner where it's not, hurting one another's feelings. You're just, okay, I don't have the same opinion, but that's totally fine. I respect you for who you are as a person, and end of story.
Exactly.
I feel like that's how it should be.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If someone is an intrusion based on what I believe, and they're coming in and they're trying to force their opinions and beliefs on me, they're not going to get me to believe them one way or another.
No.
So the best way is to say, you know what is your opinion, or just have it, for me, just have it in an atmosphere or a space that is a safe space.
Yes.
You can come in this safe space and you can say, what you need to say, as long as it's respectful.
And then educate yourself on the topic if you still aren't completely, okay, I understand this after this person has disappeared, not disappeared, left your house, you can still do the research and educate yourself and form your own opinion. It doesn't have to be what that other person thinks. So
I agree.
Yeah.
All right, so now as we have sadly come to the finality of this wonderful interview here, I want you to give a closing for my global students, and I want you to speak directly to them and let them know, whatever message you have for them.
Wicked. I think coming from somebody who has up and left their home country at the age of 18 and fully immersed themselves into a completely different culture, politically and religion, and just overall everything about this country is not the same as where I've come from. It's to be like respectful and to be open about the place that you are coming into. If it isn't your own, it's everybody else's, and so being respectful and mindful of everybody else that you come across, how you present yourself, how you talk about yourself and others, has everything to do with making sure that you walk into a place and feel comfortable.